I'm just going to take this off. So, let me. Alright, Cardinal, life under the city. So, today, first of all, thank you guys. Second, I wanted to tell you all about my strange relationship with this ceiling fan. And hopefully, in doing that, I'll inspire you all to go on and do great things with your lives. Also, this is my only slide, so I'm just going to set this up. Anyways, my story starts off 3 years ago, standing on a folding chair under the ceiling fan in my bedroom. This ceiling fan. I was fixing to kill myself. It was freshman year, and I was breaking down. You know, I was bullied a lot when I was a kid, and that manifested itself in different ways throughout the years, and I just kind of became an outsider. And it got to the point where, I lost 20 pounds over the course of like a semester. And I'm not like a huge guy. That's a lot of weight to lose. And I just figured, you don't need to eat if you're gonna be dead soon anyway. So it's not a good mindset I was in. And all of that coming together onto me in one of the most anguishing years I would face drove me close to doing this. So anyways, back to the story. I was fashioning something of a noose from the wires behind my TV, and I saw something that actually stopped me from doing this. I stepped down after this. I saw my eyes reflected at me from the TV. I know that sounds strange, but when you're at a point where you want to kill yourself and you see a person standing there in front of you, you see their eyes and their malnourished, white, bony face, and you just want to help them. Because they're a person, we care about each other. And that's what I thought. I thought I had to save this guy, and I was him and he was me, and I couldn't kill him. So I stepped down from the folding chair, and that was actually the day I decided I would transfer over to this lovely high school. And the plan was, of course, if things didn't work out here, I was going to actually go through with it. But fortunately, transferring here was a great decision. I was very embraced and welcomed at school. I made friends like I'd never had before, My very first class at this high school was with Mr. Goodwin, first period, 10 honors English. And one day he said that this year, on the very first day, he said this year could change our lives, and he was right. At first I was really happy and thrilled with this environment. I had just taken a big step, left anyone I ever knew, and made my way to Fishers. And, as any people do, we have ups and downs. As my condition sort of entails, the downs were a bit more impactful. Before I knew it, I was at the bottom of this again. And that was unfortunate. I didn't tell anyone about these things, and it just kept getting worse. And winter came, and in silence, I started plotting my death again. I felt disappointed in myself and the world around me that I couldn't find happiness. I couldn't figure out why. And it became sort of an obsession. I'd come to school and I'd just think about, maybe today I get home. And what ended up changing that, the part I really want you guys to pay attention to with this story, is one day I made the smartest decision I've ever made in my life. I went to my mom and I told her everything. From when I was a kid being bullied to the times I've come way too close to actually going through with it. And this was a big step, right? What this was breaching the silence. When you don't speak, you're not looking for help that way, it's hard to do at first, but when you don't do anything, you're kind of at the mercy of your mental state, your depression, your suicidal thoughts. And you'll cleave to the falsehood that you're really weak and that it's your fault and that the world is a horrible place conspiring against you. But none of this is true. When you start speaking to people and you start seeing people really do care about each other and they want to help you if you're struggling, what you really see is that you're in fact very strong for making that decision to talk, reach out, and that this world is a beautiful place. This school has many great people in it and many great resources, but I was just struck by how embraced I was. I was afraid people were going to be mad at me. I was telling my dad once that I was afraid of coming and telling him what was going on because I thought I'd waited too long and that he'd be disappointed. And he said, "Carter, we love you, we want you to communicate because we'd rather have you say these things than lose you." And I think any rational person can agree with that logic. Another thing, excuse me. If this story sounds similar to anything any of you guys are experiencing right now, I was a freshman when this happened. It's not to say that I'm, not depressed from time to time, but I know how to deal with it. I don't ever revert to suicidal tendencies like I used to. But if this story sounds familiar to any of you guys, I want you to do what I did, the good part of what I did in this story, which is I want you to talk with your parents. I want you to talk with your counselors. Tell your doctor what's up. Cut your hair off, all of it. Transfer high schools right now if you want to. Whatever it takes. If I could tell Carter Null from freshman year anything, I'd tell him that there is hope and that you can make it out on this other side. You need to, as Helen Keller put it, break through the isolation and reach out, and you will be embraced. Like I said, this world is a really lovely place, and how crazy is it? Right now, I'm speaking. Look around. What do you guys see when you look around? You see people. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that insane? Like, we started out from a couple of germs that made their way to a wet rock that was just floating around a warmer thing. And from that, life was cultivated and evolved up until today. And then out of all of the living things that are or have ever been, we are all the ones that are alive at the same time. And that's remarkable. One day in the future, a long, long time from now, the sun will explode. And I believe that reality exists only to the individual. So what this means is essentially we're the emotions of dead people who haven't died yet. If you look at the grand scheme of things, and when I say that, I mean Big Bang to infinity, time forever. We don't have much significance except for the fact that we make up our own realities and we owe it to ourselves to enjoy life as much as we can. And whenever we're suffering, we need to talk with people and seek help. I look out into the audience today and I see we've had some fantastic speakers, and I see hope in all of you. If you guys knew what, and I'm talking to the freshmen right now, all the wonderful things you can experience in high school, and really anyone, all of the great things you'll experience in life, you would be astounded, I've got a lot to be thankful for at this point in my life. I've made all sorts of great friends. I've written 3 albums, hundreds of poems. I've started drafting a novel. And imagine if freshman Carter knew that. If he looked at it from the perspective of, all I need to do is speak up, and this will go away from me. And of course, like I said, it's never quite gone, but you learn how to handle it and deal with it in a healthy way. It's like this ceiling fan here that used to call out to me and, offer up some dark things. But now it's just a piece of hardware that I've dealt with and won the battle over, a symbol of hardship. And I go to bed underneath it every night, and I get to wake up in this fantastic life